of Victory Talk. Y'all hear that little jam in the background? Didn't that sound good? I just absolutely love that. Shout out to our son, Quan Miller, who wrote that for us. And I'm just so excited for his musical abilities and his talent, for just the way he allows God to use him. So look, I'm so excited about tonight's Victory Talk because, and I know y'all say she always excited on every Victory Talk, but Victory Talk is on fire. We glowing up, y'all. We glowing up. So listen, tonight we're going to talk about mental health and the pandemic. We are a whole year in to this pandemic, and I know some folks are still going through. The world has not completely opened up, and we just want to give y'all some, little insight and some tips on, just how to make it through. And so tonight we have some special guests with us. You know that this is our Fit for Life segment. And we are just, we have, Dr. Come on, Doc, say it for me.
Dr. Oshan Dugan.
Praise God. Thank you so much. Can I just call you Doc? Can I just call you Doc? Oshan
Yes,
Dugan.
you certainly can.
Thanks, Doc. And then, of course, we have Sister Shay Brown with us. And as always, we have our other host, Kiara Key Noble. So, y'all, we're going to go ahead and get started. And Kiara, before I turn it over to Shay, do you want to, you got anything you want to say real quick?
Just hey everybody, welcome. Happy Friday, as I always say. It's almost sundown, so we ready to rock and roll.
And with that said, tomorrow is the first day of spring, right?
Yes.
So I'm so excited about that. So as we always do, some housekeeping. Come on, y'all, get them phones. Y'all share, go on over to our YouTube page and subscribe, like, and share. Y'all call somebody, text somebody, tweet somebody, tell them that Victory Talk is on and you are about to get some tidbits that's going to help you do better in life. So let's get started. Welcome, Shay. Welcome, Shay Brown. We are so excited to have you with us. I know you got some new stuff going on in the background. We'll share that towards the end of the show. But come on, sis, give us some talk.
Hello, Victory Talk. Hello. Thank you again, guys, for having me out another month. I do appreciate my once a month segment with Victory Talk. It gives me the opportunity to be able to host a show without actually hosting a show with my busy schedule. So I do appreciate this opportunity. This is a very, very important time for me because this is more than just Fit for Life. It's about being mentally fit. It's about being physically fit and spiritually fit as well. Before we even got on our Zoom call, before we even started, we had to have a moment of prayer. And, I really respect that because we cannot do anything without God. All right, so we have to be mentally, physically, and spiritually fit, okay, guys? So this segment is, I was really trying to share this all over. I really wanted a lot of people to chime in on this segment of Victory Talk and with Fit for Life because mental health is something that people don't think that is real. Okay, a lot of people see mental health that, don't worry about it and it'll go away. Do you worry about your diabetes? How about your high blood pressure? What about that stroke you had last week? It's the same thing, okay? Just like anything can go on with the inside organs, the physical part of the body, the brain is a muscle as well. And something can go wrong with that muscle that's inside of your head as those chemicals starts to exchange past that synapses. All right, so we have to really look deep into, do we have mental instabilities? Do we have mental issues? Do we have any are we cray-cray? We want to know any of those things, all right? And I'm just saying, because a lot of people like to say those terms. I'm not calling anybody cray-cray because I know how sensitive some people can be, but I'm just saying these are all the terms that we all use, okay? But all in a nutshell, it's all the same thing, okay? I myself was going through some mental instabilities. Okay, I don't think I was cray-cray, but I could have been going cray-cray, but I had to take a moment. I had to step back. Okay, I had to step back and I had to realize and I had to understand, hey, Shay, look, you're going through something right now mentally that is really overwhelming. And what are you going to do about it? Well, I said, I'm going to ignore it and I'm going to exercise and I'm going to keep exercising because that is my therapy. Wrong. You have to give yourself that time to take that break. Okay. And the doctor that I have on this Zoom call right now, she was one of the first people that I was telling her I need a mental break. And then we started talking about it. Okay. Because you know what? Who better to talk to than a psychiatrist? That part. Okay.
Exactly. That's what I say.
Exactly. So as I was talking to her, it wasn't like anything was wrong with me. Okay? I am human. So when people think about mental instabilities, mental disabilities, and what they say, cray-cray, you want to think that you're human, all right? And we need that time to reconnect with ourselves. So it was an absolute pleasure when Jackie brought this to me and she said, well, do you have a doctor in mind? I'm like, girl, yeah. I have an angel in mind because we're Chauncey's angels. And I'm telling you,
we are.
Yes, we are. And there is such a plethora of angels that have so many different backgrounds to where we just feed off of each other. And that is one thing that I truly love. Even when Doc was having something wrong with her ear, she's like, we're working out. And she's like, can you look at, was it behind your ear or in your ear? I can remember what it was, Doc. Mm-hmm. But I'm sitting up here examining her as we're like finishing up our workout. You just don't know the connection that you can have with another person. And it is so nice to have people of like minds that you can work out with, that you can talk to. These are sisters that we talk to. White, black, bald head, cripple, and crazy. It does not matter. Yeah. We are sisters and we talk all the time. And I just love that. So it was an absolute pleasure to ask Doc to come on and talk about mental health today. So I'm going to let her introduce herself to you guys, give her a little bit of her background, and tell you what her specialty is. All right, Doc, take it away.
Good evening, everyone. So I am Dr. Oshen Dugan. I'm a board certified addiction psychiatrist with an additional certification, general psychiatrist with an additional certification in addiction psychiatry. So I work with a lot of people who are struggling with substance use, a lot of people who are struggling with depression, anxiety, and various other mental health concerns. So I work, I work part-time for Catholic Charities, providing mental health services to various populations throughout Maryland, specifically in Western Maryland, through Telepsych and right here in the city in Baltimore. I've worked in the city for quite some time in various different settings, so I'm quite familiar with the population in Baltimore and the people in Baltimore. And I've especially been passionate about working with the underserved community because I do strongly believe that everybody deserves access to not just care, but quality care, quality standard of care. So I've been very passionate about trying to provide that for people here in Baltimore.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So like I said, she is more than qualified, okay, to handle all the questions that you guys have out for us tonight or this evening. So before I get started, I wanted to know if there was anything that Kiara or Jackie wanted to add or say anything before I get started, because I'm ready.
I know you're ready. Because you did not, because I know we have some people who know you, Shay, and some who don't. So I feel like it's important that you give a little bit of your background as well.
My bad. I'm so sorry. Okay, guys, those of you that do not know me, my name is Shay Brown. I am a board certified family nurse practitioner. I am a health coach. I am a medical exercise specialist, and I'm finishing up my certification in plant-based nutrition. My heart is in helping others to be the best that they can possibly be health-wise, okay? Mentally, we're going to have to shift them over to Doc, all right? But my goal is to help people to be as physically fit, be the best that they can be within themselves. I'll tell people all the day, every day, I'm like, you don't have to be skinny to be healthy, just like you don't have to be overweight and be healthy as well. I mean, it all depends on what your individual goals are. It all depends on it all just depends on that individual in itself. So with me as a family nurse practitioner, wellness coach, and exercise specialist, oh my God, and plant-based nutritionist, I am incorporating all of that into one to fix the unbalance of healthcare and sick care. I consider myself to be healthcare. I consider what we do in the hospital, taking care of 6 people. So when they say you're going to go see healthcare, no, you're not coming to see me. You're going to the hospital. So you're going to be getting what we call sick care. Okay. So there is a difference in the two. So I am trying to balance out the two with the education that I have medically, but also with the holistic approach as well, to try and help people to heal from the inside so it will show on the outside. Our ultimate goal, we're looking at 2022, is opening up SBB, Shea Brown Brown, Fit for Life Wellness Center, that is going to have an office that takes care of patients. We're going to take care of, it doesn't matter, from infancy on up to elderly. All right. That is the population that we're looking for. We're going to have like a clinic there under one building. We're going to have like a gym under one building. And we're also going to have a vegan cafe under one building, to where we're able to find out what the illness and sicknesses are of people, get you more in tune and incline with your health numbers, those lab numbers, those cholesterols, those hemoglobin A1Cs, all those numbers that the doctor's telling you, you know what, you need to fix that. But instead, and you need to fix that, I'm going to tell you that you need to fix it. I'm going to tell you how to fix it. So with that, in the clinic, and also going to the gym, we have a gym, and we have certified professionals that will be in the gym to help people to make sure they're working out in an appropriate manner. And we also have the vegan bar as well, to where we will be providing people with the best plant-based nutrition that you can have, along with giving nutritional classes as well. So I am a busy person. I don't see myself as being anything else but busy. I love it. So that is me in a nutshell, guys.
Awesome. Sounds good. So now, Doc, come on, take it away.
Well, I guess, we can start with what does mental health even mean? So the World Health Organization defines mental health as a state of well-being where, 4 things are happening. So 1, an individual can realize his or her own abilities. 2, you can cope with some of the normal stresses in life. 3, you're able to work productively. And 4, you're able to make a contribution to your community. So, I would say that over this past year, the majority of us have, certainly not been able to really meet all of those 4 criteria. So most of us, myself included, have really been struggling over this past year in the pandemic with our mental health. And in addition to just the mental health, it's also really important to focus on the physical health because that helps everything. So, you can't just focus up here without paying attention to the rest of you. So I think, a lot of us, and I speak for myself, have really been falling short in that over this past year. Shay, I didn't know if you had questions
No,
or.
I completely agree with you. I am so glad that, you really broke it down and explained what mental health really is, because I really wanted to touch base on the relationship of COVID and how it has been affecting not just, it's been affecting everyone. but
Right.
basically how it really has been affecting. And you said that you work in a community that is not as advanced in healthcare.
Right.
How has it been affecting that community in itself? Because I also want to ask you as a doctor, how has it affected you?
Well, I mean, for me, I have three kids at home. So all of us have been here. We've been home, doing the homeschooling while still trying to work, while still trying to address, things around the house, cooking, cleaning, doing all of these things, trying to be, teacher, housekeeper, parent, all of these things, while still trying to find time to take care of myself. So, it certainly has been a struggle. And one of the saving graces for me has been being able to get up in the morning and go work out with Chauncey, who's our fitness trainer. And that's really given me an opportunity to, remove myself from the house, do something to take care of myself, and not just take care of myself, but also do something I enjoy. So that's been one of the saving graces for me. With regards to some of the people that I treat in the community, everything has really been affected by this pandemic. So higher levels of stress, people who are more anxious, people who are more depressed, people who are feeling more isolated, people who, are more fearful, because it's just like we have this pandemic and, there was no end in sight, and, people are dying and people didn't know, what's really going to happen with this. So there was just a lot of uncertainty. And, that just caused a lot of, people to be more fearful. People have also, just with the higher stress, depression, leaning more to substances to try to self-medicate some of those feelings that they've been experiencing. So it's been really tough. And one thing that I do want to say is that, like you said, Shay, this pandemic has really affected everyone in some way, shape, or form. And, before the pandemic, there were disparities, there were gaps, right? Between African-American population and, white counterparts. So what this pandemic did is just put a magnifying glass to things that were already there. And it just made those gaps wider, right? So, access to healthcare, access to being able to get to see your doctor, your therapist. There were already problems with that pre-pandemic. What did the pandemic do? It made that worse. So places that you would have been able to go see your doctor, to go get care, weren't open, right? Everything just kind of shut down. People didn't know where to go. People needed help, but didn't know where to go find it. With this pandemic, a lot of things have gone virtual. So not everybody has access to internet. Not everybody has access to a phone. Not everybody has access to good internet that's not gonna cut out on you every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one problem there. Let's talk about the substance use. So people who normally would be going into a program, going into an inpatient facility, going into a detox facility. Now that became a lot harder, because in the beginning, people weren't accepting people onto units because, everything just kind of froze. Everything was shut down. So this pandemic just really highlighted a lot of issues that were already present pre-pandemic. There's a big stigma with mental health and seeking mental health treatment. Not just in the Black community. There's stigma in white community too. There's stigma in immigrant populations about seeking mental health treatment. But what do disparities do? It widens the gap. It makes it makes that wider. So yes, there's stigma in all these populations, but in the African American community, that stigma is a lot more. It's a lot more heightened. So you're working against that. People don't want to go see a therapist because they're not crazy, right? They don't have any reason to go talk to anybody. So there's a lot of things that have been going on pre-pandemic. The coronavirus pandemic just, really shed light on that gap.
Yes. I have a question. We have a question, and I want to get these in so that as they come in, that they don't pile up on us. Emily Brown, thank you, Emily, for your question. She says, is anxiety more present with women that are in menopause?
Ms. Brown, that's a really good question. So in general, women are twice as likely as men to be suffering from some sort of anxiety disorder. When you're entering menopause, your body is going through a lot of different changes. Your hormone levels are just, kind of going haywire. They're just kind of everywhere. So I would say that, yes, there likely is a higher likelihood of experiencing some anxiety related to some of those changes that your body is going through.
Thank you for that comment. And also Inez Young. Hey Inez, she says during the beginning in the pandemic, she was taking CBD capsules. I guess finding other directions to try to deal with keeping yourself calm and keeping yourself focused. So she shared that.
Okay. So what I'll say about CBD oils and other forms of CBD. So you have the cannabis plant, right? And there's different components of that plant. So one component is the THC, which we know is commonly found in the marijuana that people smoke or vape. And then there's the other part of the chemical that's extracted from that plant, which is the CBD. It doesn't give you the same high that the THC does, but it still has certain effects on the brain. It's not necessarily a recommended treatment for anxiety, so it's not anything that somebody coming into my office that I would recommend that they start this, because there's still research being done to determine what are the effects of CBD on your body. What does it do to your body long term? And that's what we just don't know. And because we don't know, we really can't recommend that as a treatment for the anxiety.
Talking about different types of treatment for anxiety, I just want to jump on that a little bit, being that you already opened that up. What are some medications that some of the doctors normally start to put their patients on? I know that when I went out for stress anxiety from my job, I took a 3-month hiatus mental health break. I sure did. And I needed it. I didn't realize how much I needed it until a month 30 days of being out of work. And I was like, wait a minute, I was laying in bed. I don't have anything to do. Then I put on my meditation music and I just laid there and I felt my whole entire body just sink into the bed. And I just laid there and listened to the music. And then when I got up, I'm like, geez, that felt better, you know, because I'm like, everyone knows him, go, 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 go. Then my doctor started me on Zoloft. So she said, well, just try it. It'll kick in about 3 weeks. I'm not one to start taking medication. But I said, all right, fine. I'll take some medication, you know, first time we'll see what happens. And then she said it helps with weight loss. So you know I started taking this medicine. So I took the medication. I didn't feel much of a difference. I think that by me actually just slowing down for a bit, I think that did help. So, I mean, I stopped taking it after maybe 4 months or whatever have you. But I feel so much better just for taking that mental health break. And sometimes you need that. When you break an arm or you break a leg or you go out for surgery, you take time off from those things, don't you? This is no different.
Yeah.
It is no different. So let's talk about some of the medications, Doc, that, you know, that are normally prescribed with people with anxiety. I know that Emily just mentioned the question about anxiety. It is hard sometimes, and jogging helps me as well, Em. But talk to us about some of the medications, because I know people are like, well, I'm not taking any medicine, you know, whatever. But just talk to us about some of the medications right quick.
Yep. So Zoloft is one of many medications that we do prescribe to treat anxiety. You know, one of the good things about anxiety and depression are the treatment. The recommended treatment for both of those two things are the same. So in some ways, you're killing two birds with one stone. Zoloft is a medication that is in a class called selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, or SSRIs, as it's more commonly referred to. And what it does is, so, you know, you have a chemical in your body, serotonin, that's responsible for just, you know, maintaining your mood, so to speak. So, you know, not enough serotonin can lead to depression, can lead to anxiety. So what the SSRIs do, like Zoloft, is it helps your body to keep the serotonin around a little bit longer, so that you have kind of more serotonin circulating around. And the thought is that, you know, it helps to boost your mood, decrease your level of anxiety over several weeks. You know, one thing that I want to address that you brought up, Shay, is that, you know, you were told that it's going to take about 3 weeks to work. And, you know, that it's true. You know, I usually like to let patients know, you know, this is not a quick fix. This is not a medication that you're really going to appreciate the effects of right away. It does take about 4 to 6 weeks for it to build up in your system enough for your body to become sensitized enough to it that it can start to do what it does. Right. And, you know, my philosophy with medication is always to start low, go slow. So start at the lowest dose, slowly work your way up. So, you know, it does take some time before you can achieve a dose of medication that's going to work for you. So, you know, if you feel like it's not working, probably just means that you need a higher dose of medication. And we typically like for people to be at the highest recommended dose of medication before considering that a treatment failure and saying that, oh, this is something that's not working. We have to either add something else on or move to something else. So SSRIs are one medication, one class of medication that's used to treat anxiety. You know, you also have another class, which is serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor, or SNRI. So norepinephrine is another chemical in your body that's, you know, responsible for making sure that you're feeling okay and that, you know, you're feeling good. You're not too stressed. You're not feeling down. So some examples of those medications, Effexor or venlafaxine is another name for that medication. Some people may have heard of the medication called Cymbalta. That's also another common one that's used to treat anxiety and depression. One of the good things about the Cymbalta also is that it's often used in pain clinics to treat pain. So, one of the things that as psychiatrists we like to do with medications is to, look at the whole picture of what's going on with you to determine which medication we're going to put you on. And sometimes we like to use, side effects are not necessarily always a bad thing. So, if there's a side effect of a medication that's sedating, you want to use that to your advantage in somebody who's complaining about not being able to sleep. So we like to just kind of look at the whole picture of what's going on to determine if there are medications that we can use to our advantage to kill multiple birds with, the least amount of stones as possible.
Yeah.
So there's also a class of medications for anxiety called benzodiazepines. So things like Xanax, Klonopin, Ativan, Valiums. Those medications are very effective, but they're also pretty highly addictive. So I tend to want to stay away from those medications to begin with, because if used, they're really only meant to be used for a short period of time while you're waiting for the things like your Zoloft or your Cymbaltas to really kick in. But the problem is, because it's so addictive, what happens is when it's time to come off, people are like, no, like, I want to keep this on. Like, this is working. Don't take me off. It becomes harder to come off, and, you get people that end up on it for years. And there are some, negative consequences of being on benzodiazepines for years and years and years. So it's not a road that I like to venture down if I don't have to. And then there's a number of other medications that can be used to treat anxiety as well. Mostly for the sedating effect, the calming effect. So things like antihistamines. So, Benadryl, Vistaril, those are things that we also like to use too. There's a number of others, and, I don't want to kind of bore everybody with, just a list of medications that we use, but those are just some. And, the other thing that I want to mention too is that the combination of therapy and medications is always better than either one of those things alone. So especially with anxiety, the therapy piece is really, really, really important, because a lot of anxiety starts up here. It starts with your thinking, right? So, you want to use the therapy to try to change some of your thinking, which then impacts your behavior, which then impacts your feelings. And, it's not just a one-way one directional thing, everything kind of works together. So the therapy piece is really, really important in making sure that you're addressing that thinking too. What the medications do is it makes it easier for you to participate in therapy. So, it helps with some of the physical manifestations that you're experiencing of the anxiety. So sweaty, heart racing, feeling jittery, all of those things that your body is sensing to let you know that you're anxious. So the medications help to kind of knock that out, so that's, one less thing that, you need to worry about as you're engaging in the therapy.
We have a comment, if I may. Miss Victoria Green. Hey, Miss Vicky. She says she's asking, are there any holistic ways to treat anxiety?
And I just want to piggyback on that, because that was kind of what I was going to ask. But while you're on that note, or after, what do you tell a patient who has qualms about taking medications?
So what I like, so I'm not, my role is not to push medications on you at all, right? So my role is to give you the information, and to help you process that information, and then to, walk with you towards a decision about what you want to do. So, what I like to tell patients is, it is scary to take nobody wants to be on medications, right? Whether it's for depression, anxiety, high blood pressure, or anything, nobody really wants to be on medications. And the thought of having to be on medications, possibly indefinitely, is pretty scary to a lot of people. So I encourage people to kind of weigh the risks and the benefits. So, how you've been feeling been affecting you? Has it been affecting your sleep? Has it been affecting your relationships? Has it been affecting your ability to work effectively? Has it been affecting your ability to do things around the house? So, again, that therapy piece is really, really important. So I encourage people to, start off with a therapy, to start with a therapy, to see how you're doing with that. And if you've been in therapy and, you and your therapist decide that, maybe you need to consider medications, why don't you talk to the doctor? That's kind of where I come in and, really just explore what the goals are for the medication. The other thing I like to tell people is that there's no pill, there's no magic pill that's going to take away all the external things going on around you that's contributing to how you're feeling. That's not what the medications are for. They're really to help you deal with some of the physical things that you're experiencing. So I like to just process with the patient, just give them all the information, and help them decide what's right for them. And there was a question about the holistic methods. I think Shay might be a better person to talk about the holistic piece.
Well, to be honest with you guys, there are some holistic methods that we can use, and we are going to have someone on next month that is going to talk about that more in detail. But just to talk about some things that I know that she was going to talk about, she does this thing with these bowl sound therapy, and I actually attended one of her classes. And it does help the sounds of the chakra or something like that. She said it helps to get into your I don't know what it was that she was talking about, but it was like, it just made me feel so calmed and relaxed. Again, I don't like taking any medications. I took the Zoloft for like 4 months and I'm like, I'm done. I'm like, I felt better. It wasn't like I needed to be on medication. It probably, like Doc said, it deals with the physical, what you're going through at that time, okay? And if I am, when you've had enough, or when your body has actually calmed, because your mind it calms. So if you're at that point, and you are on medication, then maybe you should talk to your doctor and say, hey, look, I'm feeling better. Do you think I should still keep taking the medication? I'm still in therapy, as Doc said, because I took therapy as well. I took therapy for like 2 months. I took therapy for 2 months. And it just gave me a time just to talk some things out that I normally just don't talk about. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go exercise. Exercise is my go-to for everything. But like she said, therapy and medication, they both go hand in hand. So with me, meditation was something that I never even looked into. And that is so holistic in dealing with relaxing the mind, relaxing the body. It's like they both intertwine as one. And when you have both relaxed, then you are completely relaxed. And the stress level, it seems to diminish a bit, okay? So meditation is something that I do every day. Even when I'm at work, I'll go on break. I'll go on break. I'll put my earpods in and I'll sit in a chair, and the room is dark, and I'll sit in that chair and I will listen to meditation music, and they will talk to me, tell me how to breathe, and I'll breathe just like that. People don't understand how hard it is to be a healthcare worker or anything. But I can only express how it is to be a healthcare worker because we are stressed almost every day we go to work. We're stressed to make sure that we take care of our patients. We're stressed to make sure that we follow the doctor's orders. We're stressed to make sure that the doctor orders are correct. We are just stressed. Okay, so sometimes we need to take that mental health break away from the unit, away from the floor, and maybe that's what you may need to do as well at your job. Take a mental health break. Just get that meditation music. Everybody know I'm Peloton. I Peloton that bike almost every day. But they also have an app on there about meditation, which I truly appreciate, and I never knew how much I would appreciate that app because I take it everywhere I go now. Even if I'm in my truck, and it could be meditation about patience. Meditations about this, that, and the other. I mean, it could be meditation on anything, and you're just listening to it, okay? That's all you're doing is just basically listening. So meditation is my go-to. Exercise is another go-to. But again, like I said, next month, we will be having someone on here talking about holistic healing as well. So stay tuned for that, okay?
And just to piggyback on Shay with the meditation, y'all, Alexa, you can tell Alexa, pull up a meditation session for you, and because she probably listened. Y'all see me.
I was waiting for it to come on.
So yeah, I'll use that a lot of times at night when I just need to calm down and relax as I'm trying to get to sleep. But yes, you know who. Just tell her, pull it up for you.
Absolutely. So I want to talk to Doc before we even get off this subject. I want to talk about COVID and the elderly. That is something we don't even talk about, isn't it? We're all so consumed with ourselves. How is COVID affecting the elderly population?
So, with the elderly population, they're in a stage of life where, they've lost people. They're maybe dealing with more health concerns. Because they've lost people, maybe dealing with more social isolation. So, their kids are grown. If they have any, they're out of the house. So just a lot of loneliness and isolation. So with COVID, that certainly makes that social isolation and that feeling of loneliness worse. And elderly people, partly, them being the product of the generation that they're in, don't really like to talk about stuff, don't really like to kind of reach out and talk about what's going on with them. There's sometimes a level of shame that they feel with reaching out to say, hey, I'm feeling a little bit lonely, or, hey, I think I need some company. So COVID has certainly made that sense of isolation worse. With the restrictions for COVID, everybody was sheltering in place. Everybody was, really, social distancing, trying to take all those precautions. A lot of times the restrictions were a lot more stringent on the elderly because they have higher risk of having complications from COVID and dying from COVID. So because of those stringent restrictions, that's something else that contributes to that loneliness and isolation that you're feeling. Elderly abuse is also something that is more prevalent during this COVID pandemic. Usually it's by the caretaker. So now you have the caretaker who maybe has other kids that they need to take care of, or other responsibilities that they have because of COVID, in addition to needing to take care of the elderly individuals. So, more frustrations, more stress. Unfortunately, you're take it out on the person that you're caring for. So that's something that people should also be aware of too. With that isolation, with that loneliness, more depression, higher levels of anxiety. There's also a higher risk of financial strain because people want to take advantage of the elderly with financial scams and other forms of financial exploitation. So, all of that just adds to the stress.
Right.
And, substance abuse is also something else that, people don't really think about when you think about the elderly, but substance abuse is also something that is an issue in the elderly population. And there's also, higher chances of more negative consequences from that because they're already lonely. They're already by themselves. So, you're using alone. There's a chance that something can go wrong and nobody would even know because you're by yourself. So all of those issues are something that's, not necessarily unique to the elderly population, but certainly, there's a lot of heightened risk. So what can you do? As Shay always mentions, exercise, getting outside, going for a walk. Like, it doesn't have to be anything, anything too strenuous at all. Just simply go for a walk and go outside and get some fresh air. Yes. Building that into your routine, creating a routine so that you're not just kind of sitting in your house all day. You have things that you're doing and that you're engaging in. And what exercising does is release endorphins in your body. Mm-hmm. And endorphins are our body's kind of natural feel-good chemicals. So, you're releasing that when you're exercising, when you're simply going outside and going on a 20-minute walk. So go for a walk, go outside, get outside, be creative with your communications with other people, a phone call, a Skype, a Zoom, a Facebook Messenger. There's so many different ways to try to still stay connected. So even if you can't physically be connected, just try to find other creative ways to stay connected with other people around you. If you know that you have an elderly person that's probably alone, that probably isn't going to reach out, we need to reach out to them. We need to be picking up the phone and calling them and just saying, hey, are you okay? Do you need anything? Can I bring something by for you? We need to make sure that our elderly people know that, they are not forgotten about, that they are cared for, that they are loved, and, that they are still very,
valuable
and right.
Valuable, yes.
Exactly.
Because
exactly.
One of the biggest things that I found with the elderly is that when they feel like they're no longer needed, or they have no more value, I've seen them decline quickly. So they need to know that they're needed.
Absolutely.
So another quick question for you, Doc, while we have you on the phone. I mean, this is something that we know about, but we don't talk about. Let's talk about suicide. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about suicide and COVID, and how have you had any cases, or do you know of any cases or any rates of suicide rates since COVID has, been here?
So, pre-COVID, suicide is the second leading cause of death for Americans ages 15 to 44, pre-COVID. The national numbers aren't out yet because, those are still being kind of researched and worked. So the national numbers aren't out yet. But there was actually a study that came out of Maryland recently. And what they did was they looked at they looked at rates of suicide in Maryland pre-COVID and kind of during COVID, during that peak of COVID. And what they actually saw was a decrease in the suicide rates kind of in that beginning stages of COVID. So kind of like your January to May period. Mm-hmm. But during that peak, the rates of suicide in the African American community doubled. And the some of the reasons for that, African Americans are more likely to be have negative consequences as a result of COVID. So higher fatality rate, more increases in severe consequences of COVID. They are less access to resources, right? So some of those same themes that we're hearing. Traditionally, suicide is not really something that's thought about as being a major issue in the Black community, which again is another stigma, another kind of stereotype. So, we really need to, raise the awareness of this and raise the awareness that this is a problem. And especially in our Black youth, there's also, unfortunately, a higher rates of suicide in our Black youth since this all started. School closures, right? So yes. Usually you have the kids who would be going into the school, being able to have some access to resources, having other people to have eyes on them. That's been taken away with the school closures and the COVID. We've had a lot of events over this past year during COVID that have been pretty racially charged. So you have the Black youth who are looking at these things and, internalizing a lot of that and saying, wow, I look at all of these things that are happening to Black people around the country. I must be bad. I must not be somebody who can really contribute to my community. Imagine the fear that they have, with needing to be out in this world. So, there's a lot of risk factors there for the Black youth that really need to be highlighted and addressed. Yes. But, suicide is certainly something that is problematic in the Black community. What I would encourage people to do is to reach out and to talk to somebody. And we also need to create that space for people to feel safe enough to come and talk to you. So nobody's going to come talk to you if, every time you try to talk about how you're feeling, you're brushed off. Or it's just like, ain't nobody got time for that, right? So we also need to create that space for people to feel comfortable enough to come to us to let us know what is going on.
I'm sorry, just to kind of jump in there real quick because we're running a little bit low on time, and I had a question that I wanted to get in, for our viewers. I don't know if you would be able to provide, your contact information, but my question is is there a directory? Is there anything out there for people? Because not to take away from, any other demographic, but in the African-American community, I find that a lot of us, or even any people of color, feel more comfortable talking with someone who looks like us or who we feel like we can relate to. So I just wasn't sure if, outside of the healthcare network and typing into your insurance, and trying to search and find somebody, is there a way to be able to narrow that down, or a place that you can direct somebody to?
I don't know that there is an official directory. But I know that there are a network of African-American mental health providers in the DMV area that I'm a part of. So I can reach out to see if there is some sort of directory, or if not, if we can maybe work on compiling one, because I do agree with you, Key, that it is important for people to have providers that look like you, because they, without even saying a word, you have that kind of shared, experience of what it's like to be kind of
in your skin.
Right.
Somebody that knows what it's like to be in my skin.
Exactly. And I think that's really important. That's really, really invaluable, really. Yeah. And you're more likely to trust the information that's coming from somebody that looks like you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Wow. Wow.
I know it's so much information.
It's so much, and I know that there is so much more. We are at the 8 o'clock hour. That time just flew by so fast. Yeah, it just went by so fast.
So much
but
information.
I'm certainly glad that we had this opportunity to have you on with us, Doc, and you, Shay, as well. But before I come back to Key, because Key closes us out, Shay, I want you to take this opportunity to share about the Wellness Center, because I want everybody to have the opportunity to go to your GoFundMe page.
Oh, absolutely.
And support, because we want to get this physical building open. We need you to get this physical. No pressure. No pressure. No pressure.
And this building will be opened. If you know me, or if you know anyone that knows me, once I put my mind to something, it's like a freight train. I don't stop until it's done. So this building, it will be open. And I would love the assistance of my friends and family to send a donation, $1, $5, $10, $500, if you feel that you want to put towards this wellness center. My goal is to raise $20,000. I would love to raise more than that, but my goal is to raise $20,000 towards my wellness center. We are going to put the GoFundMe in the chat. So if anyone would love to contribute to the wellness center, it would be most appreciated. Like I said again in the beginning, the wellness center is going to have a clinic to where we see patients from infancy on up to the elderly. Okay. We're also going to have a gym with people with degrees, not that 6-week training class that they normally tell us that we have to go through. No, these people will have degrees behind their names that are training people in the gym. And we also will have a vegan buffet cafe as well, to where we're able to provide you guys with the best plant-based nutrition and to be able to give you guys nutritional classes as well. We want to open up. We are going to open up in 2022. Again, the GoFundMe is definitely going towards that building fund. If you see me posting any of my delicious food on Facebook, all of those proceeds will be going towards my wellness center. I am so excited about it. I have a beautiful team of people that are working with me. Hopefully that once we open up, Doc will be coming and making her little surprise visits for anyone that may need any type of counseling, mental counseling.
Okay, Shay froze, and while we're waiting to get Shay back, I did drop the GoFundMe in the chat. So please, $1, $1, $2, $3, $500, whatever you can give would be a blessing to help get this Fit for Life Wellness Center up and running. I know that a lot of other communities do this, but we in our community don't, typically reach out for help to do something that will benefit our community. So this is an opportunity for you to get in on the ground and, just be a blessing. And it may not be a benefit for you, but just think about the fact that it could benefit one of your children, your grandchildren, a sister, a brother, an aunt, an uncle, an auntie, an uncle that, that you don't even have relationship to, but by the blood of Jesus Christ, we're all related. So this is an opportunity for you to get in on the ground and just, give back to the community. So thank you, Shay Brown. Thank you. Absolutely. We just love and appreciate you, Doc. Doc, say it again for me.
Ocean Dugan.
Doctor.
But we can just keep it at Doc.
Just keep it at Doc. And so I am so excited to have you here with us, and we look forward to, and I pray that you will come back again. Victory Talk, we are truly a nonprofit. We don't charge for nothing. So we can't afford to pay you for what you have blessed us with.
Oh, no. Like this is important. And, it's like I said, education. And it's better to hear it coming from somebody that looks like you because you're more willing to trust the information you're getting. So I would love to come back as a guest again.
So definitely. Done. All right, Key, close us out, sis. Thank you to all our guests.
Yes, thank you to our guests. I don't really have to repeat anything that was said, but this was a wonderful Fit for Life session. We look forward to seeing everybody, not just next Friday, but next month. Tune in because each month we're going to try to bring you a Fit for Life session with important information that, you know, you might need spiritually, mentally, and physically. So we thank you everyone for tuning in. We thank you for your questions and comments. If you have anything after the show, you know, just post it on our page, send a message, and we'll do our best to try to get the answers for you. So we look forward to seeing everybody again next week. Until then, God bless everybody. Take care and good night.